Welcome back to another episode of our live seasons where we talk about the raw and honest truth to navigating through the different seasons of life. I'm your host Wen, and if you've been loving the podcast episodes, please do leave a review of this podcast on whichever platform that you're on and let me know which topics are your favorite. Now, before I move on to today's episode, I kind of want to give a little note that every single one of this episode have an extended version to it, and that version will be uploaded onto our paid community. So if you want to know more about the action steps or just in-depth version of these topics, please go into our paid community. Okay, I will leave the link in our show notes below. Now, anyways, moving on to today's topic of letting go to move towards peace and acceptance. I am certain that we've all been in the seasons of our lives where we start to question why are certain people placed in your life, or why is it you that have to go through this particular tough situation, or this person that you have to meet, right? Like, why is all this happening to me? There's a lot of questions and curiosity as to why you, why me, right? And I would say that like we always question the bad, but the thing is that we've never actually taken a moment to appreciate the good. And why is that so? I believe that whenever we face any bad situation or people in our lives, right, it is the way of the universe or the God saying that please come to me with your worries and I'll open your heart up to answers, okay? And I always believe this. Whenever I feel this sense of like, oh my God, why me? Or I start to worry about the things that I have no control over, that is when I believe and I feel so deeply connected to the universe and to God to know that like, it is all taken care of. Because only when the bad things happen, and this is really very sad, that only when bad things happen to us or situations that put us in such a position where we're just so upset and frustrated, that is only when we seek help or comfort from the universe, from God, whoever that you believe in, right? From a higher power. So I feel like the reason to it is because if we never face uncomfortable situations and life just kind of goes our way, we will never find ourselves praying for an answer, bringing us closer to peace. We will never question the purpose of us being in this situation, which will then lead us to the lessons that we need to learn to grow, right? Which means we will never get to see the growth in us if we were to not be placed in situations that are so uncomfortable, or people that just test our patience, or people that are just quote unquote not easy to deal with. And those people come into your life for a reason, okay? And it will all make sense if you think about it, like how we are just made as a human and how the universe or God works in a really wonderful way, right? Every decision that we make leads us to the actions, which then leads us to the results in us being in every situation that we are being placed in, right? So which all brings about a purpose in our life. We just got to search for this purpose so that we can understand that there is no point in trying to control things that are placed out of our control on purpose. Okay, let me repeat that. Please understand that there is no point in trying to control things that are placed out of our control on purpose. Okay, back to last week's episode 3, where we talk about how sometimes we might not get what we want, right? But we get what we need. The universe only gives us what is actually good for us, not what is deemed as good for us, okay? Because sometimes what we think that is good for us might not really bring about the lesson that we need to learn to level up to get to our desires, right? Hence, there's like this setbacks, there's this delay, and this period of silence, and how you respond to the season of your life is very crucial. If you allow this tough period of time to knock you down and to just be in this state of just depression or just loss, a sense of loss, then that's when you'll find it so hard to move past. But if you choose to see this season of your life as a life season where you are intended to grow, you are made on this path to go through this path for a purpose, and there is a growth to it, that's when you would start growing and things will start feeling a little bit easier, okay? So with all that said, it is normal to feel this frustration, right? To feel the sense of abandonment and loss. So to feel like nothing is ever gonna work out, and all this happened because you're very focused on what happened and not the bigger picture of why it happened, right? If you know by now, something that I like to say to shift your perspective is I want you to repeat after me, okay? Everything is a choice. a decision. Whatever I see in my current reality is a result of the perspective that I have on life, of the choice and the decisions that I make. Okay, something I want you to remember and write down somewhere so you can remind yourself the next time you find yourself being in situations that are so frustrating and you're on your last straw of hope and you're questioning, like, why is this happening to me, is this. Okay, everything is a test or a blessing guiding me and shaping my journey to help me grow. Everything is a test or a blessing guiding me and shaping my journey to help me grow. Okay, you realize that with this statement, it really teaches you to surrender. Okay, to let go of when you don't know what else you can do, to let go when you feel like things are just really getting worse, to let go when you start to doubt your abilities and desires, to let go when you know that you've already tried your best, to let go and allow the universe or God to take over. Letting go is one of the hardest things to do, and it's also one of the most satisfying things to do, okay? Because when you get there, when you allow yourself to surrender and let go, that is when you start to feel better. That is when things finally start to feel like they're all making sense, okay? I say it's the hardest because it is not something that you can just convince yourself or try to make yourself believe that you have actually let go, when the fact is you have not. You've just try to convince yourself and tell yourself that, oh, I've actually let go, but you find yourself thinking about that situation day in, day out, worrying about what's gonna happen, worrying about the outcome, worrying about things are not going the way you want it to be. That is not the true letting go, okay? So accepting that everything happened the way it needed to and you're feeling a certain way because you have to feel it in order to start feeling better, okay? Running away from discomfort is only gonna be a band-aid solution. One day, the universe is gonna rip that band-aid off and it might hurt for a little while, but it is also when healing starts. I always believe this. Whenever you try to put like a temporary solution to all like your quote-unquote problems or all your worries, it is not gonna work. Because at the end of the day, one day, you're gonna realize that you get hit twice as much as your emotions, like all these really like quote-unquote negative emotions. When you get hit by it once, that is when healing starts to happen, because then you allow yourself to just surrender and to just feel all these emotions in order to start healing. Because when you keep bottling up emotions, and I talk about this all the time, when you keep bottling up emotions, one day you're gonna burst, okay? So please, 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 and I always tell you this, please sit with your emotions, even if it's just for a cry, or even if it's just, you screaming out loud at how frustrated you are. Let it be. Let yourself feel your emotions before you can actually start feeling better. Alright? You gotta make space for positive emotions to start coming in when you let go of the negative ones. Okay? All you have to do and can do is to sit through this pain and discomfort and remind yourself that the universe will never put you in a situation that you don't have the capabilities to handle or you cannot handle. Okay? Trust in that. Trust that you're gonna come out stronger at the end of all this. Simply have faith, okay? That's all you have to do, and keep showing up for yourself every single day. And this is when you'll find that inner peace within you, because now you're not worried about the future. You're not fixated on the past. You're focused on the present and how you can make today better than yesterday. Focusing on what you can do. Do your best and leave everything up to the universe. Leave everything up to God, okay? Just do your best. To drive this point home, I love my analogies. So this is one. I like to call it the toilet paper analogy. Okay. So this is something that I came up with while it is something that happened to me. Alright. And that's when I realized that, okay, the fact that you really need to let go. So imagine you're holding on to a roll of toilet roll, right? And it fell out of your hands. If you try to stop the roll from rolling by holding on to the end of the roll, the last square of the roll, it will continue to roll and you end up having to retrieve back more squares, right? But if you let the whole roll go, it'll still roll, right? But when you let go, the whole entire roll will eventually drop to the floor with lesser squares to roll back. If you don't believe me, try it yourself. Try dropping the entire roll as compared to holding and gripping onto the last square, hoping that the roll might not roll as much or might come back. It's not gonna work. Same for life, right? The more you try to hold on to something that needs letting go, the more you need to heal, because the damage is so much more significant. Remember, the longer you take to let it go, let things go, the more healing it is required for you to get out of whatever situation that you're in, or to just get out in this discomfort. Okay, I hope this makes sense to you. And if you feel like nothing is going your way, or if you feel like this constant struggle and sense of loss or frustration, I hope you learn to let go and really see the benefits of surrendering and understanding what you can control, which again are your responses and the perspective of the situation, and what you can't control, which is the situation that you're being put in. Okay, learn to sit there and absorb everything in and know that, these are the things that I can control and these are the things that I can't, and it's totally fine. For the things that you can't control, please leave it up to the universe. Leave it up to whatever higher power or higher being that you believe in, because trust me, I have come through a lot of experiences that I feel that honestly, when I start to let go and allow the universe or God to do its magic, that's when I feel, one, so much more at peace. Two, I start to see how I'm able to appreciate little things in life, the things that I get on a day-to-day basis. I appreciate and I show gratitude towards it. And when you show gratitude and when you appreciate it, guess what? The universe will want to give you more. God is like, oh my God, if she can appreciate such little things in life, that's when I can give her more. I want to give her more. Okay, it's about the energy that you vibrate on and the energy that you reflect back into the universe. So that's all for today's episode. Get in our community, like I said, for the extended version of this episode. The link in the community is in the show notes below, or it's the first link in my social media platforms. So I'll see the rest of you in the community. Bye!